He is a compliance officer, an in-house legal expert, advisor to the board of directors, but isn't referred to by any of those titles. Instead, he or she is called a company secretary. Today on the show, we'd be decoding the multifaceted word of a company secretary.
There is a dream job out there for all of us. Right assessment of one's skill sets and a clear knowledge of what you enjoy is the first step towards it. A company secretary's job is with those who draw satisfaction out of donning different roles at different times. Not just an in-house legal expert or a compliance officer, a company secretary also dons the role of chief advisor to the board of directors.
The scope available for the company secretaries, both employment and practice, is enormous, and the responsibility is also equally fixed under the Companies Act 2013. The students should make use of the demand and supply. Now the demand is more for both in employment and practice. There are many areas opened up to the company secretaries in practice in the Companies Act 2013 where they can play a very important role for the development of the growth of the organization which they are associating and also the public at large. I think students should make use of the demand and supply. And supply is less, they should make use of the opportunity.
Anyone who performs such a long list of roles must go through a period of comprehensive training, as a CS is required to have an in-depth knowledge of all regulatory compliances, corporate laws, security laws, capital market laws, and corporate governance laws. And this list doesn't end there.
The scope of company secretaries or the opportunities are multifold, and it has increased to new heights. The company secretary is included in KMP, key managerial personnel. Apart from that, if you consider for other company secretaries who are in practice, their scope has been increased many folds. Like now, secretarial audit is made mandatory. Company secretaries would be allowed to appear before NCLT. Now NCLT would be the new body which would be constituted after clubbing the company law board, the high court's jurisdiction. Company secretaries would be allowed to be company liquidator under the new law.
Being alert is an important part of the job, as company secretaries need to constantly keep themselves updated.
The Companies Act again recognizes a company secretary to take care of all the compliances of the company, of the various laws. The duties which have been laid down for a company secretary include the duty to ensure compliance of all the laws which are applicable to the company. And you know that there could be hundreds of laws which could be applicable to a company.
Certain doubts crept in with the amendments that were made to the Companies Law 1956 last year. But now, with the change of government and its acceptance of the recommendations made by ICSI, normalcy has been restored again.
Now, what is the addition now? The addition is, if we just look at the Companies Act 1956 under section 383A, appointment of company secretary is mandatory for all the companies whose paid-up capital is 5 crores and above, including private limited company. So based on our representation, now the rule has been notified without disturbing the rules which have already been notified. They added one another rules, 80A, wherein it is stated that the company who is not covered in rule number 8 shall have a whole-time company secretary. The first time the rules use the word whole-time company secretary, that means there is no part-time is allowed. So in that way, about another 22,000 companies will come under the appointment of company secretary alone. The company whose paid-up capital is 10 crore and above, which is a public limited company, will have to appoint all the 3 KMPs. The company which is a private limited company whose paid-up capital is 10 crores and above, will have to appoint only a company secretary. That means appointment of company secretary is mandated all the companies whose paid-up capital is 5 crores and above.
A company secretary's job is perhaps the only one that offers the rare possibility of working with the top bosses and directors from day one. Go high profile, become a CS. With camera person AJ Joseph, this is Abhishek Singh for NDTV.
Someone who's supposed to perform such a wide variety of roles must undergo a sustained period of training and study. Let's take a look at the different stages of becoming a company secretary.
There are various stages a student has to go through to become a company secretary. Students who would like to join the course after clearing 10+2 or equivalent have to undergo 3 stages to pursue the company secretary's course. Foundation program is of 8 months duration and can be pursued by 10+2 pass or equivalent students of arts, science or commerce stream, with fine arts being the only exception. Executive program can be pursued by graduates of all streams except fine arts, CFT passed of ICAI, foundation program passed of ICAI CMA. Professional program can be pursued only after clearing the executive program of the CS course. Admission to the CS course is open throughout the year. Examinations are held twice a year in June and December. The Institute awards scholarships and merit-cum-means assistance to the meritorious students based on their performance in the Institute's examination. After the completion of professional program, students have to go through 15 months of compulsory training with a company of their choice.
A company secretary operates in a challenging, complex and dynamic environment. Whether in a not-for-profit organization, a listed company or a government agency, a company secretary performs various roles. Today on the show, we have Mr. Sharik Malik with us, Vice President and Company Secretary ACRE, who will talk to us about why he chose to become a CS and what his job requires him to do.
Hi, I'm Sharik Malik. I'm a Company Secretary and Vice President in Assets Care and Reconstruction Enterprise Limited. This is an asset reconstruction company. My role is of a dual nature. I'm also looking after this company as a Company Secretary and also into the main operations of NPA management. Time and again people ask me why I choose to be into this profession. Honestly speaking, like any other ordinary student, when I was passed out my 12th, I was in a state of confusion, and the only thing which comes to my mind was because there are very limited options available for a commerce student. Either you have to go for a chartered accountant or a management student or a CS profession. Yes, one person who actually helps me out in choosing this profession is my father, who is a true inspiration and a mentor for me and who guide me to opt for this profession. Truly speaking, when I just actually screen the entire CS curriculum, I realize that it is a very multi-dimensional profession which equips you with both legal and financial knowledge, which will help you in any industry wherever you work in. A company secretary has to play much more than as a secretarial or a compliance officer. He has the role of a corporate governance professional. He's a governance professional of an organization who has to ensure that the good corporate governance practices is being adopted in the company or not. He has other major roles also to play of a strategic manager of the company who has to advise the company on various strategic issues like mergers and acquisitions. Then he has a role of a coordinator between the various stakeholders of the organization like the board management, the other shareholders of the company, various government regulatory bodies and the government itself. If I speak about the role of a company secretary, the role of a company secretary is very, very challenging and multidimensional. There is a small misconception about the company secretaries that company secretary's role is restricted or limited only to a compliance officer or a secretarial officer, but it is not true. One of the most important role of a company secretary is of a governance professional. He has to ensure that true good corporate governance practices is being adopted in the organization, and it is the duty of only the company secretary to ensure this thing. The another role of company secretary is a coordinator. He has to act as a coordinator between various stakeholders, whether it is the management or shareholders or various government regulatory bodies. And another role which a company secretary has to play is of an advisory role. He has to give advices to the management on various legal, compliance, financial matters to its board members, and on which the board of the company relies. If I speak about the opportunities available for a CS professional in the market, I like to say there are tremendous opportunities available for CS professions. Various industries are now looking for a company secretaries, not just for a company secretary job, but also for other operational matters. Like if you take banking, today banks are recruiting company secretaries for their legal matters today, and the insurance sector is also looking for it. If you see for the financial institutions, they are also looking for company secretaries. There are law firms also which are now recruiting company secretaries due to their legal expertise. every regulatory body in this country is recognizing company secretary as a key professional. The new Companies Act, which has also recognized company secretaries as a key professional person, but it brings with it a lot of challenges and responsibilities and penal clauses. So you have to be prepared for it. But yes, it is a fun. I can assure you, this is a profession you will love to be into.
We're at Institute of Company Secretaries of India and are joined by 3 bright company secretaries. Let's discuss with them what the preparation phase was like. They have recently also finished 15 months of their compulsory training. Let's also talk with them about that. Why did you guys want to be a CS?
CS is a very good career option. A CS, a company secretary, is not only a compliance officer of the company, he's also a regulatory officer. Now, as per the new act, he's the key managerial person. So not only the compliance officer, but he's the master and in-house expert of corporate laws, security laws, capital markets, and corporate governance.
So what have you studied in college?
I did my history honors. Usually commerce.
So
That's
why
the
the switch?
perception that usually commerce graduates go in for company secretaries or a chartered accountant course. But I guess in 12th standard I had humanities as my subject. So I had to do my graduation in a humanitarian subject, and my family background is all of lawyers. So my interest was always there in law, and I had the
But
genes.
you also loved history.
Yeah, I loved history. So see, every subject you start has history in it. So,
Right.
Right.
Hi, I'm a commerce background student. So during the 12th, my cousin brother, he just told me, Ankit, you are good at studies and you should go for a CS. It's an
So
institute.
basically you followed what your brother said.
Yeah.
What about you?
When I was in 12th, some of the people from ICSI come to the in school and they told us about ICSI. So I found a fame and a respect in this profession. As a company secretary, you are the only professional who is going to the board of directors meetings. You are actually giving them advices. So there is a respect in that. There is a pay package is also obviously very good. So this attracted me very much.
I did my 15 months training with the logistics company, Gateway Rail Freight Limited. So my experience had been really good. Not only I got to learn about the compliances, not only the secretarial compliances, but I guess I learned more of the other, like I worked in the excise, I did the, tax also, I handled the HR work also. So it has been a very good journey, and I think I've learned a lot from my 15 months training.
During my training, I just got the experience that what is the importance of CS. Like whenever the promoter and management has to any problem, whether related to any law or it is any strategic planning, they always look for a CS. Like they always want a company secretary should be there to discuss this matter with them.
There are various options for commerce students. There is CA, there is CS, they are also related. So how did you zero in on CS?
When I was a student in my college, everyone said you are history honors and why are you going in for CS? So I said, see, it's my background has been law, and I've always been interested in law, and CS is for those who want to go, who think law is their line.
Students who are still in college who are looking at CS as a career option, what would you want to say to them?
I think for those who are looking CS as a career option, I think it's a very good option, and I think being a company secretary is not only a pride for a student, but also it is the most coveted profession, as I said.
Okay, so wrap this for us. Few words of encouragement, or perhaps what would you say to a college student who's looking at CS?
Just go for it.
It's always good to work for someone else at the beginning of your career, unless you have a established practice to fall back on.